All right, today we are digging into something, well, something pretty mind-bending. It's a text called Ved Vigyan Alok, and it puts forward this really radical idea. What if the ancient Vedic hymns, which we've always thought of as prayers, were actually something else, something more? What if they were, in fact, a detailed scientific manual for how the entire universe was built?
So let's just chew on that for a second. This is the big question the source material wants us to ask. What we're being asked to do here is to kind of set aside the traditional religious view for a moment and just consider another possibility, that these ancient verses hold a hidden layer of meaning, a physical, cosmological blueprint for reality itself.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this, we first need to see just how different this idea is from the way these hymns are normally understood. Let's put the traditional view and this new cosmic blueprint idea side by side.
So for centuries, you had these really brilliant commentators, like the famous scholar Sayana, who laid out how you're supposed to chant these hymns ritually. But here's the twist. The source text we're looking at argues that they knew which hymns to chant, but they completely missed why. The traditional view saw it as a religious act. This new interpretation, it says the hymns themselves are like a cosmic engine, designed to create real physical effects across the universe.
Okay, so if these hymns are generating actual, tangible effects, what kind of effects are we talking about, and how does that even work? Well, this is where we get to the absolute core of the theory, the idea that there are 17 fundamental cosmic waves.
And I mean, this theory is incredibly specific. It's not some vague, mystical idea. It points to exactly 17 of these hymns, which are called the Samidheni richas. And get this, it proposes that these aren't just sounds we make here on Earth. They are fundamental waves that exist everywhere, permeating the entire universe.
And we're not talking about some subtle, mystical vibe here. No, the text is crystal clear. The combined effect of these 17 waves is a huge boost to the universe's basic machinery. We're talking about generating enormous amounts of heat, real physical force, electricity, light, and even the formation of new particles. The idea is that sound isn't passive. It's an active, universal engine for creation.
Of course, this is probably the question you're asking right now, right? How? How on earth could sound, a chant, physically shape the cosmos? How does sound actually become stuff?
And what's really interesting is, the source totally sees that question coming. It basically says, look, if it was just about the rhythm, the meter, you'd only need one hymn. Just put it on repeat, right? So clearly there has to be more to it than just the beat.
So the answer, according to this text, lies in something it calls an eternal bond. The theory is that every single Vedic word, or vak, isn't just a label. It has a direct, hardwired, causal connection to the thing it represents, the vaksha. The tuning fork analogy is perfect here. It's like you say the Vedic word for heat, and somewhere out in the cosmos, the fundamental principle of heat itself starts to vibrate in response. You're not describing it, you're activating it. It's a command, not a comment.
And this is really the key part. It's not a chaotic, random process. It's a precise sequence, like a cosmic recipe. Each of these 17 waves or rays has its own specific job to do, and they have to happen in order. It's a chain reaction. Wave 1 gets things moving. Then wave 2 makes those things combine and interact. Then wave 3 cranks up the heat, fueling the whole process. One step builds right on top of the last. But the waves aren't just acting on empty space. The theory says there's a whole other layer to this, a matching set of 17 fundamental principles of reality. And these principles, these progenitors, are basically dormant until the right sound waves come along to wake them up.
And this is where you see this really beautiful symmetry in the whole model. For every one of the 17 sound waves, there's a corresponding cosmic principle. These are known as the Prajapatis, which basically translates to progenitors or lords of creation. It's a perfect one-to-one match.
And these Prajapatis, they are the absolute fundamentals. I mean, thinking of them as the operating system of the universe is a great way to put it. We're not just talking about physical stuff, we're talking about core concepts like time, mind, and even speech itself.
It's almost like time is the system clock, mind is the processor, and speech is the command line that actually executes the code of creation. These 17 principles are the underlying rules of the game for all of existence.
Okay, so let's recap. We have our ingredients, right? We've got our 17 cosmic sound waves, and we've got our 17 fundamental principles of reality. Now, we get to the final step. This is how the text says these two forces come together to create something truly massive: stars.
And this quote from the source really gets to the heart of it. The whole grand process, this enrichment of the universe, it only kicks off when those 17 hymn waves connect with and switch on their matching 17 progenitor principles. It's a two-part system that has to work together.
So that's step one. That's the spark. The key in the lock analogy is just perfect. The sound wave is the key, and it's cut with a very specific, intricate shape. The universal principle is the lock, and when you turn that key, that's when all the creative potential is finally unleashed.
And what comes out of this union isn't just a blast of random energy. No, it gives birth to something very structured: new sets of cosmic rays. And here's a wild detail. The text claims these new rays are organized in a way that sounds strangely familiar, creating 12-month rays and 5 season rays. It's like the very structure of time is baked right into the energy that's being created.
And here it is, the grand finale. The whole point of this entire chain reaction. These newly formed month and season rays are what supposedly combine to build, to power, and to feed stars, including our own sun. So if you follow this logic all the way through, the existence of a star isn't an accident. It's the direct result of a process that all began with the vibration of an ancient hymn.
So what's the big takeaway here? I think it's that this text, Vidvijan Alok, is really pushing us to look at ancient knowledge with completely fresh eyes. You know, whether you see this as literal science, as deep philosophy, or as a really powerful metaphor, it presents this fully contained system where sound builds stars and hymns are the blueprints for the cosmos. And it leaves you with this really provocative thought, doesn't it? If one ancient text can be reinterpreted so completely, what other knowledge from our past might just be hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to find the right key to unlock it?